Their owner is afraid to reveal her identity. In the middle of this Toronto neighborhood is something you don't normally see.
In its backyard live 3 outlaws.
Where are they? I got them! They're in the backyard! They're in the backyard!
I would suspect that there are thousands that are out there now as we speak, and they are under the radar.
The penalties for keeping chickens in your backyard start with fines of a few $100s. From there, if the city receives repeated complaints, it can actually seek a judicial order forcing chicken owners to give up their birds.
And so these are illegal chickens. Their owner is so worried about getting caught, she's asked me not to reveal her identity.
I mean, I've stopped answering my phone in case the city's calling, right? I won't answer the door.
These bylaw enforcement officers, which are around as city staff, have actually been enforcing the bylaw, and they find out you have chickens, you get a fine, or you get that chicken taken away or have to remove it.
And so, you know, I'm on edge, right? I'm walking on eggshells, as they say, because I'm just so nervous.
It's a matter that's ruffled a few feathers. Should Toronto residents be allowed to keep chickens in their backyards? It's a debate that's been incubating for years, and today people on both sides of the issue took a crack at it.
You know, I think they're wasting a lot of time and energy at City Hall for these chicken lovers that are coming in and trying to roll back years of progress. And I think at bare bones, it's if you want to raise chickens, move to a farm.
Look, you know, nature, birds, squirrels, the chickens, the trees. Living in the city, I find that we're so far away from our own natural rhythms. And for me, coming down here and kind of being a part of that, the rhythm of nature is almost like a meditation. And I find it very rejuvenating.
Keeping hens is an absolutely natural, symbiotic relationship, hens and people. I think that if everyone had some hens, TV and computer games would go out the window. I mean, it's just so engaging and entertaining. Once you have them, you can't imagine your life without them. You'd think, oh, it would be kind of miserable.
No one really expects that chickens would be a good urban pet to keep. So at first, when I wasn't educated, I was like, yeah, of course they're gonna be illegal. But then as I learned more, I was like, well, this is unfair. They're perfect animals.
When Andrew and Matthew first got interested in chickens, they really looked at their own financial resources. Because I was interested in this hobby and I could see that there would be a lot of educational benefits, I told them that if they were short of money, that I would certainly help them because the benefits far outweighed, you know, the financial cost.
Eggs and hens are just one further extension of the local food movement. It's not some over-the-top, out-of-this-world, on planet Pluto idea. It is just an extension of the local food movement.
We're trying to do a food forest where you just walk in and you just start eating. I just stumbled
wondering where your food came from.
Yeah, and then I just thought, how wonderful to have some chickens that'll take care of the garden, you know, cut the grass, eat the weeds, and in return give us eggs. People say, are you going to have them for soup? Are you going to eat them?
Couldn't do that.
No.
So that's what makes them a pet.
Now they're pets because we've named them, and
yeah,
they know us, we know them.
Knowing where your eggs come from, knowing where your vegetables come from is a good start. I mean, you can't grow your own meat,
But
etc.
even having control and just the awareness of, you know, what it takes to actually grow something.
I think people are going to forget how to farm, how to grow things,
Stuff.
how to get
How
their
to
hands
cook.
dirty. Yeah, how to cook, that's the other one.
Well, I can remember back in the day, would have been the early 80s, and I went with my dad to Kensington Market, and it was one of my first trips to Toronto, and I remember they had live chickens right on the corner that you could buy, and they had them in little cages, and there was rats running around, and there was just this horrible stench everywhere.
The story is that in 1983, when the former city of Toronto banned chickens, it really was an attempt to become a quote-unquote modern city.
I mean, it's not that the chickens disappeared. What they did was go underground. So they went into secret coops and backyards all across Toronto.
Originally, we thought it was going to go to City Hall a lot later than it ended up going. Yeah, so we got an email the night before, and then Matthew and I quickly wrote up a speech and practiced it, and then we went to City Hall.
Hello, members of the Licensing and Standards Committee. We got interested in urban chicken keeping just a couple of years ago, and are now involved in our community and are trying to legalize hens in the city.
I'm here to urge you to vote in favor of the motion to request a staff report on the issue of backyard chickens.
The Office of the Environment had already done a report that basically dealt with all of the misconceptions about chickens and came up with a plan for how chickens could be kept responsibly in the city.
So Andrew, why should the councillors vote yes to the report? Because saying yes to the report does not mean that you're committed to vote yes later on. There are no consequences to voting yes, and the report's already done, so why not?
I can tell you that the most common misconception that's out there is that roosters are needed for chickens to produce eggs. I don't intend to make fun of anyone who has that belief, because actually until 3 years ago I thought so too. It's just an example of just one of the myths that's out there, and that an informed staff report with research could actually help address.
I know for a fact having a coop in your neighborhood can get you bird flu, can get you SARS, chicken pox.
The concern about what do you do with a sick chicken?
Yeah.
Is that something that we should worry about with avian flu and what's happened elsewhere?
An exotic disease like avian influenza or bird flu is a smaller risk than many of the bacterial diseases that are all over the place.
I mean, the people keeping the hens may not have the avian flu. It could be the next door neighbor who catches it.
No, absolutely not. No, what the health departments have said is backyard hens are not a concern in terms of avian flu.
The problem with chickens is that they're a prey animal. So they will hide as long as they can the fact that they're ill or injured or sore. And unless you're really in tune with how your chickens act and what they normally do, sometimes it can be quite a while before you notice that your hen is sick.
And so are you saying to us that raccoons and skunks and coyotes, and I'm assuming dogs as well, see chickens like we do as lunch?
Well, they either see the chickens as lunch, or they see their food as lunch, or their droppings as of interest.
If you take care of them properly and with the coop or proper pen, then the raccoons can't get at them. And at nighttime is when you have to lock them up.
But you have raccoons anyways knocking over your green bins, every garbage day. So you just put stuff away. It's just
yeah, it's good.
It's not
good habits.
Good habits.
Cleanliness.
If you let your dog poo in your backyard and you don't pick it up, it's going to smell. But if you take proper care of the chickens and you keep on top of it, it won't smell. So with our old coop, like every day we'd have to fix something or come up with a new solution to kind of solve our issues. And now they're living in luxury because everything, it couldn't be better. This coop is perfect. Yeah, it's perfect for us.
You mentioned chickens being noisy. Would you agree that maybe someone's neighbor's dog is noisier than a chicken going cluck cluck?
They'll squawk if they see you come in because they're happy to see you. But it's not like an annoying squawk.
Except for the one bird who likes to squawk in the morning, but that's only because she's laying an egg.
It's called an egg song when you hear it. They each have their own sound. The new little ones don't really have a sound, except for Persia. I know when she's laying because she makes this ow, 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 ow. Sunshine gets a little bit noisy when she wants to lay, and I want to shh.
Yeah, we try and be considerate.
We're just considerate. I
if
mean, I
she
do
likes
that with the
to-
dog too. You know, Betty, shut up.
Actually, yeah, well, our neighbor, she's mentioned the yappy dog once or twice, but she's never
never
mentioned the chickens.
Chickens are charming.
Yep.
Pigs are charming.
Yep.
Goats are charming. Yep. Ponies are charming. Geese are beautiful and charming. So would you agree with me that at one level, Councillor Mahevik's motion discriminates against all the other barnyard animals?
Well, there were sheep, there were cows, there were pigs, and I really grew up in a rural community. But I soon realized it wasn't for me, so I moved downtown Toronto, and I noticed that the chickens were hiding down there too. So I decided to do something about it.
I started about a week ago. It's been pretty good. Dale's kind of just showing me the ropes of everything.
It's not our job to write the laws, but it's our job to enforce them. If you have a chicken, if you're a cooper, we're going to bust you down. We're going to knock on your door, and we're going to write you up. This isn't just a job for me, okay? This is my life.
How do you spell poultry?
P-O-U. Hello? Uh-huh. Yeah, okay. We'll be there. All right, thanks. All right, we got a noise complaint on the east end.
This could be it. This is going to be my time to shine and prove to Dale that I can do this. And also to prove to my girlfriend's dad.
This is it. Suit up. When we hear a complaint about noise, especially involving some kind of, possibly a chicken, that's something we need to deal with.
Question for you tonight. Do you get along with your neighbor? How much do you have to put up with to keep the peace? Would you be able to cope if there were a coop next door with live chickens?
We did look on the internet and saw that there were city bylaws. We knew that bylaws were complaint driven, so we assumed that if we kept things nicely contained down here, and we did speak with both the neighbors on both sides of our home beforehand and gained their agreement. Now, my husband didn't think that we would be hearing from Animal Services because he thought they probably have so many other more important things to look after.
It was a long time. We were there for like 8 hours, I think.
Well, I think Matthew has to learn that it's very much a waiting game. He really wanted to get in there and knock on the door right away.
He had me pee into an empty coffee cup.
And it worked. And we weren't caught. So you could just thank me.
So this is a notice of complaint from Toronto Animal Services. Keeping of certain prohibited, or animals prohibited. Comments. You are not allowed to keep chickens, roosters in the city of Toronto. Within a week, we had a knock on our door early on a Sunday morning, and which really surprised us, and it was an agent from Toronto Animal Services. She asked if we were keeping hens, and we told her that we were and how much we were enjoying it and how responsibly we were keeping them, and we invited her to come back and see the coop. She informed us that we needed to relocate the hens out of the city because they were prohibited animals within 72 hours.
I am very aware that chickens are illegal in the city, yes. I have never had a problem. I know people who have, but I've never had anyone bother me about my chickens.
You just knock. Oh, there's a doorbell too.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi there, Amanda Lynn?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in infraction of Municipal Code 349.
Sorry?
Well, does she have a mail slot or?
It still counts, right?
Yeah, she got it. So our work is done here.
And my last thing, could you just repeat what you said about asking the councillors to vote to obtain the information before you vote on something? Can you just read that line again?
Yeah. So Matthew would first say, so Andrew, why should the councillors vote yes to the report? And then I'd say, Because saying yes to the report does not mean that you're committed to vote yes later on. It is important to vote yes to the report so you can make an informed decision when the time comes to do so. There are no consequences to voting yes, and the report is already done.
Every month or 2 months, another city is legalizing backyard chickens. And Toronto, that's supposed to be environmental and a leader, is so far behind, it's shocking.
I will move that we defer the item indefinitely.
You could obviously tell they made the decision before we presented them with the facts.
I personally do not want to bring this back to debate.
They don't want it.
They don't want trouble. They don't want more work.
Council's got a lot to deal with of greater import.
Come on, we have enough to worry about. We have crime on the streets. We don't need to expect our police officers now to arrest chicken thieves.
That's ridiculous.
I feel I have enough information today to make that decision. I don't need more information. I don't need a report.
Why would you not want information? Why? What's wrong with that?
I don't think we want to go there where we allow residents to have chickens in their backyard. And what next?
Yeah, I've got a plan B to the conventional ways of dealing with someone who potentially could be harboring a fugitive fowl in their backyard.
I was a little confused at first, but I got pretty excited when he showed me what Plan B was.
I fully support Councillor Nunziata's.
I'll be supporting Councillor Nunziata's motion as well.
So I'm going to be supporting the deferral. I don't want to deal with this issue any further.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that 5 city councillors can decide for an entire city.
All those in favor? Councillor Nunziata, Councillor Gloria Lindsay-Luby, Councillor Palacio, Vice Chair Councillor Ching Lim, and Councillor Glenn de Beramenke. Unanimous. Thank you.
Okay. I couldn't believe that was 4 hours and they voted to just end it right there.
Big city council in the big sophisticated Toronto, what are you worried about chickens for?
That was really cool. I busted down the door.
You did it well. With one kick.
We're a big city, but why can't we just localize a little bit more and bring your food production and your organic lifestyle to the city?
Toronto doesn't really have to reinvent the wheel. You know, city after city is legalizing chickens, and they pretty well all have come up with a similar set of rules. Limit the number of chickens to maybe 6 or 7 per household. Make sure that they have a proper coop, keeping it clean. You basically have to be a responsible pet owner.
We are a progressive city. Let's be as progressive on this issue as New York City, Chicago, Dallas, the big cities of North America. There's value in this.
We're gonna crack down on all the illegal chickens in this city.
Nobody's safe.
Nobody.
Unless you don't have chickens.
Then you're safe. But if you got a chicken back there, we're gonna find it and we're gonna take it.
We're gonna put all the chickens in one basket.
I think the expression is eggs, but yeah, it works for chickens too. We're gonna put all the chickens in a basket.
Well, I understand the expression. I was changing it to make it more current.
Doesn't really make
for the situation that we're in right now.
Doesn't really make sense because it'd be more of a cage anyway for chickens, rather than a basket. It wouldn't really. You couldn't fit more than.
We're putting
one,
all the
maybe
chickens
two.
in one cage.
In one cage. They're gonna taste great, but guess what? If you're cooking them in your backyard, if you got them and if you're raising them, you're not eating those chickens. We're gonna get them. We're gonna nab them right off your plate.
We're gonna. I think they raise them mostly for the eggs, though.
Even the eggs. We're gonna take them right out of the frying pan. You're just about to have a nice breakfast. Bam. Now you're not. Now we got them. Now they're in a cage.
I'm gonna.
Or a basket.
Sorry.